Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Ruth, the second chapter. And as we went through in the first chapter, right, it introduced us to a woman by the name of Naomi and her husband Elimelech and their two sons Mahlon and Chilion. They end up going to Moab to escape a famine in the land, and there Naomi's husband and two sons die, and then she eventually returns back to Bethlehem with one of her daughters-in-law being Ruth. And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of wealth, of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. So somebody near of kin, a relative, you could say, of Elimelech, which was Naomi's husband. So you see how it says that that this was a mighty man of wealth, right? So Boaz was rich, by default. Elimelech would have, being of the same house, would have also have to have been a man of estate. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field. Because remember, at the end of chapter 1, it says it was during the harvest time, right? So she has to go into the field, a field that she can find, and glean ears of corn after him in whose sight I shall find grace. So whoever's field I come into that permits me, let me just go so I can, glean, meaning to like pick the few that are left that may have fallen or that weren't, completely taken during the harvest. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And the reapers, their job was with their, sickle. They would go through, and during the harvest, all the crops that have grown, if it's corn, they will cut them down with their sickle, tie them up together in bundles, which are called sheaves. And they would place those on the asses, carry it to the threshing floor, from where it would be threshed or beat to separate the grain or the sheaf or the chaff from the actual edible part of the crops. So these reapers, that's why they were in the field doing their job. And when it says here, and her hap was to light on a part of the field, it means that, and by chance, that's what it said. When it says hap, it's like she happened by chance to encounter or to light on a part of the field that belonged to Boaz. So when she went to glean, the part of the field that she ended up going to just so happened to be one that belonged to Boaz, who was of the kindred of Elimelech. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem. So when he arrived, and said unto the reapers, the Lord be with you. And they answered him, the Lord bless thee. This is like a greeting. Then said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, whose damsel is this? And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, it is the Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. Chances are Boaz obviously knows who Naomi is, considering that she was the wife of his kinsman. And she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she came and hath continued even from the morning until now, that she tarried a little in the house. So, that's the lady that came back with Naomi. And, when she came, she asked permission to pick up a little bit of what's left. Now, in the law, when you go into the law, if you owned a field during harvest, you weren't permitted to gather every single bit of crops off your field. You had to, whatever was left, whatever remained, you had to leave so that those that would wander into your field, if they were like widows or poor, they could glean those things, the remains that they could find, so that they can have something to eat. So here, when she asked, they let her. And the servant here is telling Boaz that she's been working since morning, and she only took a little break in the house to rest. Then said Boaz unto Ruth, Hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field. Now, when it says, Hearest thou not, my daughter, it's saying here, like, listen, take heed unto me. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. Go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence, but abide here fast by my maidens. So whenever you go to gather, don't go into another field. If you need to gather, come onto this field. Let thine eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go thou after them. Have I not charged the young men that they should not touch thee? So don't fear, right? When you want to glean, you come here and you gather. I've already commanded the young workers, the men, not to bother you. And when thou art athirst, go on to the vessels and drink of that which the young men have drawn. So the water that they get from the well, when you're thirsty, you can go and drink of that. Don't worry about it. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, Why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me? To basically show her this kindness, right? Seeing I am a stranger. And Boaz answered and said unto her, It hath been fully shewed me all that thou hast done unto my mother-in-law, or unto thy mother-in-law, since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother and the land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou knewest not hither or heretofore. So basically, Boaz tells her, it was told me that all the kindness that you showed Naomi, right? Even after your husband died, you didn't just leave. You basically forsook your hometown and everything there to come with her and stay with her, and now you're dwelling amongst people you don't even know till this day. The Lord Yahweh recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel. So he basically blessed her in the name of the Lord, under whose wings thou art come to trust. So in doing this, may the Lord bless you, right? The God of Israel. and that latter part in the NLT, as it says, under whose wings you have come to take refuge, right? Well, I'll just read it from the start. May the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge, reward you fully for what you have done. Then she said, Let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord, for thou hast comforted me, and for that thou hast spoken friendly unto thine handmaid, though I be not like unto one of thine handmaidens. So even though I'm not a Hebrew and I'm not one of your handmaids, those in your house, you have showed me, kindness, right? And spoke comforting words unto me. And so when she says, let me find favor in thy sight, she's saying, like she's going to do whatever she can to sort of not be a burden onto him, right? Verse 14, and Boaz said unto her, At mealtime, come thou hither, and eat of the bread, and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. So basically, come and eat with us. And she sat beside the reapers, and he reached her parched corn, and she did eat, and was sufficed, and left. And when she was risen up to glean, so the next day, when she came back, Boaz commanded his young men, saying, Let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. Now, once again, the word, when it says glean here, glean is like to gather, right? She was coming to gather the remains, like whatever she could find after as you can see, it says to pick up, right? To gather. So after the workers, had done the bulk, whatever was left that she could find, she would gather that. And so Boaz says here, he commands his workers that when she's around, just allow her to gather wherever she wants to gather, and don't bother her, don't reproach her, don't try to kick her out or anything like that. And let fall also some of the handfuls of purpose for her. So purposely, drop a few here and there, so that she can have a bit more to gather, and leave them that she may glean them and rebuke her not. So she gleaned in the field until even, and beat out that she had gleaned. Once again, let's say it's corn. The threshing floor is a hard ground, right? And when you beat out the grain, you're literally doing that. You're smashing it until the it's easily separatable from the husk. Now, for example, if it's corn, you can actually just like hit it on the ground, and the I don't even know what's it called, the grains of corn would start to fall off the cob, right? So there are ways to get those off, and that's if you wanted something like what they had the night before, which is like parched corn, which is roasted. You could do it on the cob, or you can separate it from the cob, and then just group it up in a bowl or something like that. Anyway, as it says here, and beat out that she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. And she took it up and went into the city, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she brought forth and gave it to her that she had, and gave to her that she had reserved after she was sufficed, i.e., Ruth brings in what she had gathered that day to her mother-in-law. They prepare it. The mother-in-law basically takes her portion, and then whatever remains she gave to Ruth. Remember, Ruth was still her quote-unquote handmaid, so it wasn't on some like we're equal 50-50 type joint. And her mother-in-law said unto her, Where hast thou gleaned today? And where wroughtest thou? So where did you go? Where did you work today? What field did you go to? Blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. So she's saying this because of how much Ruth brought home, because it was a lot. So she was like, well, damn, like, where did you, where did you go today that you basically came back with so much? And blessed be whoever it is that helped you out and was so gracious unto you. And she shewed her mother-in-law with whom she had wrought, which is to work, and said, The man's name with whom I wrought today is Boaz. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, Blessed be he of the Lord Yahweh, so may the Lord bless him, who hath not left off his kindness to shew, left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. Because in being gracious unto Ruth, it would also be showing like honor or favor to her dead husband, because it's like he is taking care of her to a degree, right? Which is like a kindness that Boaz would have shown not only to Ruth, which was living, but also to her dead husband. And Naomi said unto, like, it's like, for example, when you have cases where you may have, I don't know, even two friends, right? And one of them has a daughter or a son or a child, and something ends up happening to them, and they're like about to die or something, or they have to go away, mainly if they're about to die, and they ask their friend to take care of their offspring for them. That friend who does that is showing kindness, one to the offspring that's alive by taking care of them, but also to the one that's deceased by taking care of their loved one in their absence. And Naomi said unto her, The man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen. And that next kinsman is one that is they qualify as a redeemer. So when you were a next kinsman or next of kin, there were certain either privileges or responsibilities in given the situation that would fall upon you. And as we continue to read in the book of Ruth, we'll see how that comes into play here. And Ruth the Moabitess said, He said unto me also, Thou shalt keep fast by my young men until they have ended all my harvest. And meaning that you can, rather than go into a different field, you just Just stay, follow the young men as they're doing their work, and whatever drops, you can have that. The whole entire harvest, you can do that. So you don't got to worry about going to somewhere else and possibly getting harassed or whatever the case is. And Naomi said unto Ruth, her daughter-in-law, It is good, my daughter, that thou go out with his maidens, that they meet thee not in any other field. Because if you go to another field, you may not gain as much favor, right? Also considering that you're a stranger in the land, as you're gaining over here. So it's good that he said to stay with his workers and his maidens, because he has instructed them basically to, to show favor to you. So it's good that you're here and not in a foreign field. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean unto the end of barley harvest and of wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. And so basically she followed as Boaz had said, and she stuck closely to the maidens, and she, daily or however often it was, she would go and glean, get whatever she could get, bring it home, and so on. And that brings us to the end of the book of Ruth, the 2nd chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.